Hello everybody, starting to set up your paper on an 8.5 inch by 11 inch sketchbook, finding the center of the paper to make nice neat little squares for your value scales or whatever other assignment you're working on. You're going to find the middle by measuring to 4¼ inches and making a mark with your pencil in a couple of different spots. I'm using the lines in the ruler to see if I'm at a 90-degree angle to the paper. Usually 3 is enough, one at around the middle, one at the bottom, one at the top. And then you use your ruler and a very sharp 2H pencil to connect the dots and bisect the paper, dividing it into 2 equal chunks. Then I'm going to set up a top margin. I like to just use an inch. Just make a little mark here at the inch, one in the center, and one on either side. And you connect the dots. And this is a nice spot to put a label, name, date, all that jazz. So now I'm going to start setting up the box portions. I'm going to get rid of these markers here because I don't want them messing up with my measurements. So I'm going to make a couple of marks. First thing I'm going to do is make a 1/8 inch space between the margin and where I'm going to start my first inch box. So there's my inch, and then here's my 1/8 inch space in between. So we're going to end up with a 1-inch box with a tiny space in between each box. I'm going to do this in a few other places too. Let's see, out from the center, because I want the center box to be aligned with the center line that I made. So I've got my 1-inch mark there and my tiny little 1/8 inch space on either side. And I'm going to line up the lines on my see-through ruler so I can see where my inch marker is in other spots. Then I connect the dots. Got my first row. I'm gonna make a little space between them. And then keep on measuring. Get a space here. Again, 1 inch with an 1/8 inch space in between. Can fit quite a few on one page. Whenever you're doing value scales, it's a good idea to have an odd number so that your middle value can help you to set the scale, to help you to perceive what the mid-tone is going to be in comparison to the darkest dark and the lightest light. Always good to have an odd number. So then I'm going to start making the other rows. You can see I'm not super lined up with the little marks that I made. I'm making little eyeball corrections. Perfection is something to be strived for, but not necessarily always achieved. I'm going to put in a set of lines here. Here's my 1/2 inch division. A little bit of space on either side. I'm going to make my center line. And this is going to be the center set of 1-inch boxes. I can end up erasing all the stuff in here after I get it all set up. It takes a while, but it ends up looking really nice. It's a good thing to put in an artist's portfolio. It's a great thing to put into your high school portfolio. Craftsmanship matters. It's the difference between getting your resume tossed out or your portfolio tossed out just because it looks terrible, and the difference between dazzling a prospective employer or higher education institution with your care and attention to detail. Shows a certain amount of pride in one's work. Also makes for a really just good looking sketchbook when you've got most of it filled and you don't have a ton of white space. Forgot about the bottom row. There we go. Using a see-through ruler is very helpful in this because you can match up your lines a little bit better. You can see if they line up with the ruler's lines. Okay, and I've got the beginnings of my setup. I'm going to go in with my eraser and clean things up a little bit, get rid of guidelines I don't need. And we've got a pretty neat grid system going on that we can use for our value study projects.